It's a good game. It's a new game.
All right, guys. Gonna give everybody a couple minutes, let them know we're gonna get started, and then we'll start going over the markets for this week.
He's not there.
Okay. We'll get started here. So let's see. Start with the bigger picture of the markets. So first things first, we've got a squeeze, which marks consolidation, right? That's kind of what's going on with the market right now. So we're kind of in this chop phase. We're still in an uptrend. You can see here, it's pretty clear. And we go over this almost every week. So if you're looking here, we got a high, we create a high, higher low, high, lower high, break that. There's our high we put in a lower high, and then now we're in a downtrend, and now we broke here, and now, well, really the break was down here. Now we're in an uptrend. So now we need to see, okay, is this going to print a lower high? Or are we going to continue this uptrend? Now, I'm leaning towards us moving to a new high. Well, because we broke here. And we have all-time highs right up here. So I think it's just a matter of time for us to at least pop to 480 and get that push to 480. I think the longer we consolidate, the bigger push we're going to get into 480 and the more explosive the move is going to be. But as we continue to create a squeeze, longer we trade sideways, I think the break to 480 will be more explosive. So really, I think there's just a couple things that can happen. We go up, push to 480, through it a bit, and then sell back off. Or I think we could chop around and then explode through 480 and then just carry on to 500 for SPY, right? So just continue the uptrend up into 500. Now that's probably seems, this is kind of my number one scenario that I'm looking at. Obviously, I'm not going to trade anything without a signal, but as we see it play out. This is kind of the one that I'm looking for to happen, which, I mean, does it really matter? No, I'm going to trade what I see in front of me. And if it doesn't end up playing the situation, we just adapt and play whatever situation it is, right? So a big reason that I'm looking at this is because you can see here we had a monthly squeeze, perfect bounce off the 21 EMA. And then from there, bullish engulfing, another big candle. This is a nice reversal pattern. And now we're looking to take out this high, right? So monthly squeeze just not firing off. So in theory, we should have 6 to 10 more months of bullish price action, right? And so I think that's what will kind of lead us into 500. If you look at QQQ, we fired off a while ago, it looks like. But same thing here. We're only 4 bars in. We've got at least 2 more months of good price action before we start to get cautious. And then from there, if we go look at NQ, they're all going to look pretty similar, right? NQ only 2 weeks in or 2 months in. This one here, we've gone from black into red into black, and now we are kind of so this means that the compression is starting to release, and the squeeze should be firing anytime now for ES. Okay, so that's what I'm kind of looking for in terms of futures, right? And trading these contracts. And so if we look here, you can look at the different time frames. We got a 4-hour squeeze. Now this is going to be a little funny just because we did, like, the futures contracts did trade today for a shortened period of time and just traded last night. So right now we're looking like we're going to fire short on these lower time frames, but it doesn't really matter until we get to the morning. So right now, all we need to focus on is we can't really make any decisions for day trading because obviously it's not time. But now we're just looking at, okay, so what is the bigger picture on the daily time frame? And right now, if this is a lower high, you want to look for it to break this low. Right now, we don't necessarily have any reason to believe that, and we need to just wait and see. So right now, it's kind of like a wait and see, slight bullish bias, but as we know, or as you guys know, buys can switch very quickly in the market. It's a matter of what setup presents itself, not what I think is going to happen going into the day. I could go to bed thinking, okay, I'm going to want to short the market tomorrow, but then it gives me a long setup, and so I take that. That's why it's important to have defined setups that you're willing to take, right? So right now, EMAs are stacked. It's a little easier to see on SPY. So you can see here, we have this structure break, which we talked about. But then so last week we talked about, here's a structure break. So here's a higher low that create a higher high. And then from there, we had a pullback and we broke here. So I said, okay, watch for the shorts. So, but then what typically happens after a structure break, you get a pullback. So that's how we were able to catch this whole move to the upside, right? So that's how we caught that. And then from there, we can continue to trade upside. There was no reason to look short. So that's why we've been playing short or long. The only time that we were interested in shorts last week was on this move right here. And why is that? Take a look. 30 minutes not as clear, but the 15-minute is very clear. Okay, you can see here this huge wick indicating sellers are pretty strong, right? So like if you look at it from just a structure perspective, high, here's a higher low that created a high. We double bottom, tried to double bottom, created another high, right? And then we sold off below this higher low, below this higher low. So then we created a low, we came back, and the only way we'd look long is if we got back above this high. And we didn't do that. So we were looking at this as being a potential lower high, right? And then we had this sell off after. But now, as for now, we just got to see what the market looks like in the morning. Right now, it looks like we may be starting a new downtrend. We'll have to see. So this could be a big double top, or it could just be a minor pullback before a rip higher into all-time highs. Okay. So then from there, that's kind of the analysis on NQ and ES. So there's not really much to it. It's just day trade this. We're in a sticky spot, right? Leaning with the bias that we're going to break this high. Or we look at SPY, leaning with the bias that we're going to continue into that 52-week high or all-time highs, sorry, at 480. Or that we will pull back into continued consolidation. But I wouldn't be surprised with the strength of the trend we've had so far. I wouldn't be surprised to see a continuation. So that's what we're looking at here. QQQ, we're a little far away from that high. So same idea, make our way back into that high there. That's what I'm thinking. Make our way back into that high there. That would also be another all-time high for QQQ because this was a all-time high here at 410 or right around there. Okay, so that's that. Stocks that I'm watching. Okay, so I'm looking at Netflix and seeing if we can get a run into earnings next week. So we have earnings next week on Tuesday. Potentially interested in a trade in Netflix. You can see here we've had a strong trend similar to the indexes. And so I like the idea. What news is this? Interesting. Okay. So I'm thinking that we could potentially get another move up from here, right? We have this psychological level right here at 500. I think that this is a little more tough to trade because of earnings coming up, but there's potential that this thing could just push through and break 500. And if we get that break of 500, everybody, all the retail is, oh, it broke 500, better get in before earnings, blah, blah, blah. It's going to continue to go. I like the idea of that trade of the break of 500, similar to the one I told you guys about a couple of weeks ago of NVIDIA, or actually it was last week. Looking for the break of 500, and then we got that, and you can kind of see the move we had after. So I would like to see that on Netflix. It's just a little more tough with earnings coming up. So I would keep that on your watch list. Another one that I'm watching, AMD. We got a daily squeeze. We've got resistance level here at 150. This chart looks great for upside. So this could be a double top, but based on the most recent trend, based on the semiconductors and the strength in NVIDIA, I would be surprised if this did not continue its uptrend, right? So we look at this. Let's look at the hourly. Hourly looks good. Looks like we've got a little bit of a flag. Um, and we're holding that 8 EMA. And on top of that, we've got the psychological level here. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, oh, 150, hanging man, uh, another hanging man. And they're probably thinking, okay, we can go short. We can short this. And so people probably got sucked into the short on this move down. People probably got sucked into the short on this move down here. So I'm liking the idea of this flag potentially breaking 150. When we break 150, you got to think about the psychology between all the people that are getting into these positions, right? So if you're looking here, you can see they're probably seeing, oh, there's a double top. There's a double top, right? And they're probably trying to sell short the market. Now think about how many stops are there's a double top at 150. That sounds like every retail trader that's looking at this stock, right? So if we break above 150, this could cause a really explosive move, trigger a ton of shorts in this trade um, for this stock, and catch a really nice move to the upside. And we don't have 52-week highs very far away, $15 higher. So, I mean, we've got a little bit of resistance here. You can see at 156, 155 area. But other than that, this looks like pretty clean for a move to 52-week high or all-time highs. So keep an eye out for that one. There was one other one. And if you guys have charts you want me to look at, throw those in the chat and I'll go over those. Trying to remember which one it was. Snow. So snow, this one's a little ugly. This could be a short. We'll have to see. You can see we're at the top of this channel, but if we break out of this channel, this could be a huge breakout, right? Okay, so get rid of this. Got a $200 price level, right? We break out of this, we could see a really nice move up. Now we've got like some resistance here up at 232. We've got a little resistance here at 212. So we could see a pretty nice breakout on this one. Now, it doesn't look that great. If we can get the momentum to flip to the upside, then we could see a nice breakout. This looks a little somewhat similar to how Microsoft looked in the past few weeks. So you can see here we had this resistance. We came up, rejected it, rejected. Looks like sold off a little bit, and then boom, we had a huge move up. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then last one is shop. So this one had a rough sell off, but it's continuing its uptrend, right? It's continuing to trend upside. Weekly looks pretty good. Monthly squeeze fired off to the upside. EMA's crossing. Daily, we've got momentum continuing to push to the upside. So I do like this name for continued upside. I want to pull back into the buy zone right around this area here. And then I'd like to take entry. Maybe at this resistance now turn to support. Okay. Now I'll go over some of the stocks that you guys are looking at. BA. Okay, so when you're posting these tickers, it'll help if you can kind of give me your thought, like what you're thinking behind these, and I can better kind of answer your question, I guess, because essentially me looking at these tickers are questions, right? Um, so this one, uh, if I was gonna do anything with this, I would short it. Um, yeah. So if anything, I would short this, meaning puts. It looks like it's sold off pretty hard, but it can still continue to go. So I think this one, I like this one for downside. And yeah, I would look for a lower time frame squeeze, something like this right here. And then you can see we sold off. I would look for something like this and try and short it then. We've got a 15 minutes, so maybe you could play this one, wait for the momentum shift, and then short it to the downside. Okay. Riot. Hmm. This one would be nice to short on a pullback. If I was going to do anything with it, I'd short it, looking for it to move back to this support area. I'll move back to $10. I think that's a pretty easy move back down to $10, which would be almost 17% in the stock or something like that. And then um yeah, you can see it's a clear breakdown. And got this head and shoulders pattern, which doesn't isn't too big of a deal. Now that's already played out, but I mean, wouldn't be a terrible spot to short it right around here. And a move back down to that $10 area looks pretty good. Um, Apple, if anything, I'd probably be shorting this one too. Uh, just because it looks like it's forming a bear flag, and you can kind of see here impulse. So we got this huge move up, right? Bull flag, breakout, uptrend, and then we kind of traded down, pulled back, and then broke down again. And then now we're just retracing, and we could just see another push back down to this low here. So honestly, this one, I like this for a move back down to this low. And then only time I'd start to look long on this one is if we get back above here, but that may change. If we make a new low, then that would change. But right now, I wouldn't look to go long until we're back above 194 area or 195 area. And then for now, I'd be looking to short it. Disney. Hmm. Okay, so this one a little more tough, right? Okay. Yeah, I could see this one as a short. Yep. I'd wait for the momentum shift, but right now it's looking pretty good for a short. It's just be aware that this right here could turn into a bull flag. and just be a higher time frame falling wedge type pattern. Because you can see here, we've got this push up, and then we've been trading sideways. So here's your flagpole consolidation. This could just be a falling wedge, bull flag type deal. And so just be cautious of that. But yeah, I could see it as a short. Oh yeah, okay. CLX. This one still is continuing to look good as a long. It's weird. It's definitely acting weird. We've looked at this one for a few weeks. It's setting up for a big move. So um I have to lean bullish on it. Based on this run up and this trade sideways, I think it's gonna move higher. But like I say, these high compression squeeze trades can start to get a little sketchy. Now, when consolidation is this tight, a lot of times it may just take you right into earnings. So definitely be cautious of that. So it might be a move that happens post earnings. Okay, so this one, yeah. Um I would lean short on this. Oh, I'd still lean short on this one. Big gap down. Um, you guys know I like to anticipate breakouts and catch breakdowns before they happen. So this one, where's 250? Right here. Okay, so there's probably a lot of people thinking double bottom, but we've talked about this one before. Uh, we have this big move up, and then earnings gaps us down. We miss pretty significantly on earnings, gaps us down. We try to push up. Just think of the psychology behind the trade, right? We had earnings gap us down. We tried to push up and then just sold right back off. Now we're trying to put in a double bottom, but really we're putting in a bear flag. So I would personally anticipate the break of this low here and look for a continued flush and just trail your stops and just see how low this thing's gonna go. Um, that might be all that's left in it, but with the earnings sell off like that, typically you're gonna continue to see more selling. Mara. Wow. Man. We were talking about getting in here. I think we did enter here. Sold way too early. $10. Wow. Wow, this did 200% on the stock. Jeez. Okay, so this one, uh, same thing here. Look at same thing with like Riot. Look at the structure. So you can see here, put in a high, pull back, put in a lower high, which is just the beginning stages of a breakdown. And then we actually broke here. So nothing you can do here because you can't confirm a lower high unless it breaks higher low, right? So really what we want to see is something like this. And then you can short it. So you can short it back below low. So right now it's trying to break down, it's just not ready. This one is way more clear, the structure, because you can see here, here's a higher low. Let me put in a high. Then we broke this higher low on this here. So any sort of pullback can look short with a stop loss above here. So that's kind of my thinking behind here. And then, yeah, with Mara, little more tough because the structure. This one has been stronger anyways. So like if I just look at the size of moves that we had, this was like a 30% or 300 200% move, right? Move up. This one was about 100% move, so half, right? Then we go look at coin. And this one was from 78. This was like 150. So Riot, out of those, maybe we could go look at Hut if we really wanted to extend what we're looking at. Hut would probably be the where to start at. Yeah, so Hut or Riot would be the ones that you'd want to look to short out of all those Bitcoin miner names. And I think you would look for a break of this area here or break of this here, and you could see a serious sell off on this here. I mean, we break this support here at $8. You don't have much support until 635, and then you really don't have support until like $4, 386. This low. And then from there, oh, then you go down to 3. And then you go down to 2. And you probably go down to 1. So I mean, this one it could get pretty ugly if it gets short below this $8 area. So I'd be looking at Hut and Riot as shorts out of all the Bitcoin names. If you were trying to pick one to short, those are the two that I would go with because they're the weakest. Just keep it simple. Which ones are the weakest? Which ones have the least amount of run up? And then trade those. And so lastly, I'll look at Bitcoin real quick. And this one looks like it's setting up for a short. Broke this trend line. And looks like it's about to roll over and head to the downside. Maybe we'll go retest 40,000. We got really close to 50,000. Couldn't quite make it there. But yep. All right, guys. Thank you guys for coming. If the ETF comes out, it's going to give investors a chance to get in before the. I think with maybe. I don't have too much experience with how an ETF is going to affect what the charts do. right? Or how people are going to react. If people really wanted to be in, they would just buy Bitcoin futures, or they would like investors, big money. If they really wanted to own Bitcoin, they could just buy Bitcoin futures. They could buy Bitcoin actually. Like there's a lot of other things that they could do. And Bitcoin futures don't require that much margin. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to. So I don't know. I personally don't know how it affects it, but um I don't really pay attention to Bitcoin that much. But okay, guys, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. If you guys have questions, DM me in the chat. Um, and I will see you for the markets tomorrow.